Good day, dear friends. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to what is the second video for Friday. This one is the Cavalier cheat sheet video. Now, I was hoping to get this out to you yesterday. Sadly, as most things happen when you try and get all best laid plans, there's always something that kind of goes wrong, or something that happens, or kind of content I've got to make, or, you know, kabam's tomfoolery when it comes to gifting event and sending out rewards and other things. But yeah, the Cavalier cheat sheet, links are in the description down below. It's basically a spreadsheet of handy champions to deal with certain things. And it did take a little longer because I did want to make sure that I've tested and also looked into theories of champions that work well with all the different types of quests. So let's kind of like jump into it. There's going to be a Google spreadsheet. There's going to be the normal spreadsheet available on a Discord. But yeah, links are in the description to all that. Essentially, what we're doing is looking over the champions that are decent. Also, at the bottom, I've added in where I can some like more champions. So they're not in any particular great order. So yeah, like the recent interactions and additions to mention is that with the first node, which is the tech node, and that is that what is it? High voltage. Each time tech attacker inflicts power, drain, burn, or lock on a defender. They inflict with a shock passive. So your options are either put a shock on the champion or power, drain, burn, and all that stuff. There's not any kind of great additions to this particular list, but I do think there's a couple that are quite good. Or three actually. Silver Centurion on all attacks does a shock in replace of it what would be a critical, which is helpful for the rotations. Silver Centurion's a great option. Nimrod does power lock after a certain point. It's part of like rotation of the abilities. But Penny Parker does power lock and power burn. I'm going to be doing some special content on individual champions and MVPs on like separate videos, like I don't know, 7 to 8 minute videos that just focus on a chunk of MVPs for each individual node. And I'm going to do that on a monthly basis in future. In 1.2, it's all about Mystics, Occult Equilibrium. I haven't made any changes to what I've put in before, and maybe that's just down to like the Mystic line in general. I did have something up a moment ago, which I'll have to try and find. List of champions that have been released in 2021, and I think we've had a very kind of like low amount of like Mystics, and in particular those that are able to do power control, which is really annoying because it plays into the narrative of the node, which is like, well, what's the point? So yeah, hope, and also regen Mystics, which again, like, well, that's not really been a thing unless synergies are your way to kind of like deal with this. But still the same, you know, Doctor Doom is the MVP here. Magic with SP2. Scarlet Witch with an RNG. Could say that the Scarlet Witch sigil, but not everybody will have that. Dormammu in with the combo. Man-Thing with regeneration, Sorcerer Supreme with regeneration, actually that's a pretty good option. Mephisto with regen, Dr. Voodoo, which, you know, on the odd combo with Brother Daniel's signature ability. In 2.1 we've got Celestial Vision, which is all about interacting with the miss mechanic in a fight. So when the enemy gets this, what is it called, arrogance up, it means that you falter, and so, you know, hitting an enemy champion, oh right, not very good, because you're going to miss. The champions that then it puts you in the options of going for either going down the route of like putting Odin with pre-fights, cross-fights with buffs, having Heimdall in the synergy in order to give buffs, so it opens up all of the cosmics of an interaction, or is helpful enough. But there are better options. Like Odin has an SP1 that has True Strike buff. There are some other champions as well that kind of build buffs very quickly. Proxima Midnight Venom with True Strike, but Venom in general for building buffs is great. Hyperion buff creation, fantastic. Black Bolt with Hit Monkey. Angela, Venom in the Dark, you name it, there's loads. Red Goblin's got True Sense. Hercules as well, I've added in, it's got True Sense and buffs. Icarus has energized buffs. Xerxes has glancing and fury buffs, and I think one other type of buff as well is like a transcendence buff or something, so that's another kind of like option. But as well, if you're looking to interact against the miss, I think it's True Accuracy and True Strike. I think more so with Mole Man. I think I might have to take, no, Karnak's fine, it's True Accuracy and True Strike is fine to deal with miss. It's either one or the other, I can't remember. One of those. True Accuracy deals with that particular element, but yeah, there's some options right there. On to 2.2, and we've got Martial Discipline, Fighting Fit, and then we've got Accident Prone as well. So at the end of the day, you're going to have debuffs that are thrown onto you. These will be non-damaging debuffs, and the way to play this is either one of two things. build crits to shrug off those debuffs, or it's a case that you just have shrug off skill-based champions. This means that the options are as follows. So for your crits, there's a whole host of things. Like we've got Black Widow Deadly Origin, that's one of my personal favorites. Falcon with crits when locks on, Black Panther shrugs off crits, etc. going down the list. And you can, as I said, this is available in the link in the description. Go and check it out. But also you've got some shrug off champions. You've got Crossbones, Jabari Panther, Mole Man, Kingpin, Hitmonkey, Nick Fury, and Korg. So those are some great options for the community. I've added Kraven in because Kraven does have an ability which is non-damaging debuffs can be reduced the more that he gets over the fight, and there's like a max of 8, so it's like an 80% shrug off rate or something like that once you've built him up. So yeah, Kraven is another cool little option right there. Now finishing off, we've got 3.1. First of all, in 3.1 it's all about science champions. In particular, it's all about, as it says here, knock the defender down while they're suffering from a power sting, slow or weakness effect. The defender is inflicted with a non-stacking petrify passive, and then each time the defender would gain power while suffering from a petrify, envenerate or suppression effects, science attackers gain an indefinite fury passive. So it's up to you how you play into that, and there are loads of fun options for the science line. Some new ones I've added in as well that interact relatively fun with this, like Cap Infinity War with a science champion gets a weakness. Cap Infinity War with a tech champion gets a lovely little petrify. So you kind of like kill two birds with one stone. Immortal Abomination petrifies and has a weakness debuff. In particular, if you hit into a block or it's a well-timed block, the enemy hits into you or hits into your block, they get a weakness. So it's actually a really good champion. Immortal Abomination is actually a really solid option. Void has a weakness debuff, and then we've got Human Torch with Power Sting because that's the other element as well. Power Stinging, doing a lot of damage, very, very effective, especially as it says here. Knocks down defender while they're suffering from a power sting, slow or weakness effect. So it plays into the narrative of what you've got to do. There's also She-Hulk with slow debuff with a heavy attack. You know, She-Hulk with Mr. Fantastic gets power sting. Spider-Man Miles Morales, a new addition into here, SP1 weakness debuff. That's a great option. I forgot to add in recently last time I did this, Thing 20 rock stacks equals SP1 weakness debuff, and Mr. Negative with an SP2 petrify debuff as well. So there's a whole host of options there for that. Now on to final quest time, and antagonistic, which is basically get your mutant attacker, do a parry or a parry heavy attack, and what you do is you get an unblockable buff, and once you get that, just hit into the enemy. Once you're hitting through with unblockable, hey, you get yourself a large amount of fury passives. Now, the easiest thing to say with this is like any mutant will do. That's just the thing. Like, there's no other kind of like thing with this. I haven't updated this because like there's not really any kind of like reason. There is other elements to this, especially with the prowess buff. I think I've put down notes somewhere about that. I don't know how that factors into it, but except for I've kind of like made a mention about the prowess buff for some reason. Don't know why, but apart from that, I mean, I'm just finding it just quite easy, just as it says that. Each time a mutant attacker knocks down defender down with a heavy attack, the attacker gains an unblockable buff lasting for 3 seconds plus 2 seconds. Each time a mutant attacker hits a defender with an unblockable attack, the attacker gains an indefinite fury passive. So yeah, I think I just mentioned it because gaining prowess just means that, look, you'll be able to spank in a load of damage, and it's always thumbs up. There's no other thing really to say except for, look, as soon as you parry heavy, get an unblockable buff, you are going to absolutely slay. I've been using Weapon X, so yeah, I really recommend Weapon X if you've got him, but not everybody has him, so it's not really any much point in me recommending a champion not everybody has. But there we go. That has been it. That has been the Cavalier cheat sheet for January. Good luck in the grind. As I said, links and information in the description down below. I do want to make this a very quick video, or quicker than I normally do this coverage. But yeah, appreciate you for the support and love on the channel. And yeah, hopefully you check out some of the content on today. And it's Summoner Choice Vote later on. Check it out. Cheers, everybody. Bye-bye.